Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello. So good faces. To all of you, welcome to the 47th Annual Letelier-Moffitt Human Rights Awards. As Morning Star shines, and some of you are joining us for the very first time. This special community first came together in 1976 after agents of Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet assassinated two of our IPS colleagues, Orlando Letelier and Ronnie Carpin-Moffitt, right here in Washington, D.C. Through this awards program, we've helped turn that horrific terrorist attack into a force for justice. No one can express the significance of this annual event better than our former IPS board member, Harry Belafonte. Here he is.
Their murder by the state, which not only touched us deeply because of the tragedy itself, but also made us understand how vulnerable all of us were in the work we were doing against tyranny and oppression, and especially tyranny and oppression that comes from the state. With the death of Letelier-Moffitt, we were awakened to the fact that decency and goodness, which was mostly what defined their presence in our midst, was instantly wiped out by this act, recalling the good deeds that they had done and how they inspired us and still inspire us. To be able to say that Institute of Policy Study stands strong is a moment of joy, to be able to know that it has prevailed and celebrates all these many years later a strong existence. And by all of you here this evening celebrating this event, we are blessed and rewarded by your attention.
Thank you, Harry Belafonte, allies that we have lost over the past year, and we salute and celebrate Harry and all of them. Tonight, in the midst of the horrific suffering happening in the Middle East, we want to turn our attention to two organizations that continue the fight for justice and human rights against incredible odds. Two organizations whose leaders express extraordinary bravery every day as they work for justice and basic humanity for people in and out of the prison system. To kick off our ceremony today, I want to invite up to the podium another IPS board member who has devoted much of his life to creating vibrant cultural spaces that challenge systemic racism and war. Please welcome Andy Shalal, founder and owner of Busboys and Poets.
I think it'd be appropriate for us to take a moment of silence to honor all those that have perished in this horrific conflict that's happening right now in the Middle East, and the people in Gaza who are under the worst siege in the history of the world. So please take a moment and remember them. Thank you. It's my pleasure to present this award. Transgender people in 22 states and counting are being denied health care and the very right to exist in public spaces. As a result, suicide, poverty, ill health, lack of employment and housing criminalization and even death is disproportionately high in trans communities. This is especially true for Black transgender women. Our domestic awardee this year is the LGBTQ Prison Abolition and Reentry Assistance Organization, Black and Pink. Tonight, I have the great honor to introduce to you the award-winning activist, author, and media strategist dedicated to Black transgender liberation, Raquel Willis, who will present the award to Black and Pink. Raquel is a thought leader on gender, race, and intersectionality. She has served as Director of Communications for Ms. Foundation for Women, Executive Editor of Out Magazine, and National Organizer for the Transgender Law Center. Raquel co-founded Transgender Week of Visibility and Action, currently serves as an executive producer for iHeartMedia's Outspoken, and is the president of the Solutions Not Punishment Collaborative's Executive Board. Raquel published the GLAAD Media Award-winning Trans Obituaries Project, and executive produced and hosted the Trans Youth Town Hall with Logo. Her debut memoir, The Risk It Takes to Bloom, on Life and Liberation, will be released later on in November, and we are looking forward to having her do her debut launch at Busboys and Poets. So stay tuned for the date that we will have this wonderful event with Raquel. Raquel could not be with us today, so we would like to welcome her on this screen.
Thank you, Andy, for that kind introduction. And thank you to TOPE and the Institute for Policy Studies for having me. Even though I can't be there in person, it is my immense privilege to introduce the domestic 2023 Letelier-Moffitt Human Rights Awardee, Black and Pink. Black and Pink is a vitally important Black and trans-led organization dedicated to abolishing the criminal punishment system and providing for LGBTQIA2S+ people and people living with HIV/AIDS through advocacy, support, and organizing. I don't have to tell y'all that we are living in a time of political wildfires. 2023 marks the fourth consecutive record-breaking year for anti-trans legislation in the US. We have had more than 500 bills targeting trans people's access to healthcare, education, legal recognition, familial rights, privacy, and simply the right to publicly exist in this year alone. And we don't talk enough about how many of these bills criminalize children, their doctors, and their parents as felons. Even without the swirling legislative fights, LGBTQIA+ people, particularly people of color and poor people, are criminalized, targeted, and arrested and incarcerated at disproportionate rates. But Black and Pink makes interventions every day. Founded in 2005, Black and Pink National now has a strong grassroots network of 11 volunteer-led chapters and more than 20,000 current and formerly incarcerated people and people living with HIV/AIDS located across the country who can boast about being members of this phenomenal organization. Black and Pink supports system-impacted people at all stages and strengthens our collective power through national campaigns and grassroots efforts. In 2020, BNP opened Leiden House in Omaha, Nebraska, a transitional living house for LGBTQIA S2+ folks coming out of the criminal punishment system. They are fundraising to provide no-cost housing, wraparound support services, mental health support, daily drop-in services, and community programming to all of those folks impacted. So drop some coin if you're willing and able. It is my pleasure to support and honoring Black and Pink with Institute for Policy Studies Letelier-Moffitt Human Rights Award of 2023. Give it up to our fabulous honoree.
Much shorter than Tope. Oh, good evening. We are so honored and humbled to be the recipient of the 47th Annual Letelier-Moffitt Human Rights Award. My name is Tina Han Rodriguez. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm the Deputy Director of Youth and Community for Black and Pink National. And I'm joined by our board member, Vita Rangel. Thank you so much for being here. The recognition of our commitment to human rights and our dedication to supporting LGBTQIA2S+ people, those living with AIDS, and those impacted by the carceral system means so much to us. I would like to express my deep gratitude to the Institute for Policy Studies for spotlighting our mission and recognizing our grassroots efforts. It means so much to have people recognize the work that we do every day. The legacy of Orlando Letelier and Ronnie Carpin-Moffitt is an inspiration to us all, and it is with immense respect that we work to carry the torch of advocating for human rights and justice. Being selected for this award is not only a testament to our work, but to the countless individuals, volunteers, supporters like yourselves who have championed our cause. It underscores the importance of solidarity and collective action in our ongoing battle against systemic injustice and discrimination. I would be remiss if I didn't express my gratitude to the LGBTQIS2S+ community and all of our allies. This award is as much all of yours and theirs as it is Black and Pink's. Their resilience, courage, and unwavering support are what keep us going every day. The last thing I would like to say is that if we can create a safe world for trans women of color, we can create a better world for each and every one of us. Thank you so much.
Another hand for Black and Pink. Another hand. Congratulations again, well deserved. We are also incredibly fortunate to feature a musical performance by acclaimed Salvadoran musician and educator, Lilo Gonzalez. Lilo has been a longtime community leader in Mount Pleasant since fleeing from the Salvadoran Civil War and has touched the lives of many with his music about immigration, injustice, and love. His music has energized many demonstrations in the DC area over the past 3 decades, including several this year in front of the Salvadoran Embassy. Please welcome Lilo.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Wow. It's an honor for me to be singing tonight. I'm a Salvadorian. I came in 1981 as a refugee to this country. And I used to work I teach children. You know, I teach 3 months to 5. So what I do, buenos días, buenos días, oh. That's what I do, right? Salam aleikum, salam aleikum, ni hao, Ni hao. That's what I do. That's what I do. But what an honor. I don't want to take so much time, but to be black and pink. Oh, thank you very much. Because your struggle is our struggle. And in my country. Thank you. That's what I'm going to do, just a little piece. I want to do short songs. Because we are rainbow, a human rainbow. And when we blend and set together, then the world glows. We are different sizes and shape and color to make a rainbow. We need each other. Eso les canto a los niños, ¿verdad? But it's a beautiful song. So thank you. Your struggle is our struggle, and we are with you. And in my country, it's so sad, because we are behind. But thank you. You are an example. Muchas gracias. Talking about Chile and Letelier-Moffitt. Again, I used to work at a school for friends, right there, a few blocks from here. But teaching little one. But I used to work also on NCRC on Highland. And so when I have some time, I just stop by and walk around and see the monument for these heroes, these martyrs. You know, it's an amazing, and thank you for inviting me, John, and the IPS. 10 years ago, we went to Santa Marta with the water defender. We went, and thank you. We were there. I was singing again, you know. And music is powerful. Music is a tool that we can make this world a better world. But let me just thanks to the Chilean refugees that came in 1972 or 1973. Because as a refugee in 1981, they opened the door for us. When we came, they put the seed. They put the seed and the music and everything. And that's why I want to sing this song. He was an inspiration for me. His name is Victor Jara. Representative McGovern just told me that they captured today the guy who shot him. And thank you, Representative McGovern, for helping us and being on top and keeping an eye on what's going on in Central America and El Salvador. So sing with me. El derecho de vivir, poeta Ho Chi Minh, que golpea de Vietnam a toda la humanidad. Ningún cañón borrará el surco de tu arrozal, el derecho de vivir en paz. Indochina es el lugar más allá del ancho mar, donde revienta la flor con genocidio y napalm. La luna es una explosión que rompe en el corazón el derecho de vivir en paz. La 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 la, el derecho de vivir en paz. Dio canción. Es fuego de puro amor, es palomo, palomar, olivo del olivar, es el canto universal, cadena que hará triunfar el derecho de vivir en paz. El derecho de vivir en paz. Again, through this connection, IPS, my friend from the Vietnam Veteran for Peace, I was able to go to Vietnam this year. And I have a surprise for you. I met this guy, you know, and his name is Bob Chenoweth. He was a Vietnam, he was a POW for 5 years, you know, and he used to work for IPS in 1987. So he told me, I remember, because after the Vietnam War, he went to American University, and he was working with IPS, and he said, I remember the year when I was there, we brought a group from Chile. Quilapayún. And he sent me a poster through my friend Ron Carver. He's the guy in charge of, that's why I went to Vietnam. They have a book. He was a fighter. He was a fighter helping, you know, all this coffee house where people can come in the 1970s, right? People who were against the wars in Vietnam. So thank you, Ron. And so he sent me a poster. He sent me a poster of 1987 when Walla was the awardee, and Bob Medina, Bishop Medina from Paraguay, that they were getting this award for them. So, thank you very much again, you know, for what you do, and the Chilean people, Salvador Allende, Victor Jara, ¿verdad? And all the musicians and all the people that have bringing music and peace to this place, especially now with what's going on in the world. You know, it's so sad to see what's going on in the Middle East, in Gaza, you know, and Ukraine. So this song is my last song. This is my own song. It's called No Human Being is Illegal. I came in 81 as a refugee to this country. And look what I got. Thank you to Tutela, ¿verdad? A María Julia, ¿verdad? That they were fighting. And tenemos una deuda en la patria. We need to account for the disappeared people. Until we don't find the last Salvadorian killed, we won't have peace in El Salvador. Y esa es una deuda que tenemos. We need to find out. I have families, I have friends that we don't know where are they, that we don't know where are they. And I would love to know, to at least El Día de los Muertos go and put a flower on top of them. So this is the last song that reflects what's going on in the 1980s when we came. And with the Chilean people help us. They were part of, have you seen all those murals? You know, all these artists, Centro de Arte, Centro de la Juventud, they were working with young people. So this is the last song. Sorry. Salí pa' Semana Santa, abril del 82, aún llevo el olor a incienso, a mi pueblo y su dolor. Aún llevo el olor a incienso, a mi pueblo y su dolor. Deprisa sin un adiós, sin plata un pantalón, pensando volver muy pronto a mi pueblo El Salvador, pensando volver muy pronto a mi pueblo El Salvador. Ay, qué bonita es mi tierra, te lo digo, compañero. Ay, qué bonita es mi tierra, que lo sepa el mundo entero. Ay, qué bonita es mi tierra, te lo digo, compañero. Ay, qué bonita es mi tierra, que lo sepa el mundo entero. No puedo vivir aquí, no puedo vivir allá. Señores, ¿cuándo tendremos un poquitito de paz? Señores, ¿cuándo tendremos un poquitito de paz? Hoy vivo aquí en la Mamplesa, frente a un palo de coyol. Pa' no morirme soñando, cantemos esta canción. Pa' no morirme soñando, cantemos esta canción. No human being is illegal, te lo digo, compañero. No human being is illegal, que lo sepa el mundo entero. ¿Me ayudan? No human being is illegal, te lo digo, compañero. No human being is illegal, que lo sepa el mundo entero. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Un saludo a Santa Marta. Un saludo a Santa Marta. Ejemplo de lucha, de lucha. Muchas gracias, Etelvina. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilo Gonzalez. Thank you very much. One more round of applause for him. So I get to have the fun part of asking for money, okay? So I came to IPS many years ago. I don't know how many years it's been, several. Once you come to IPS, you never leave IPS, apparently. But I've been here for quite a long time, and I really came here because I wanted a home. I wanted a place that I can actually sit with sane people and have a conversation that I don't have to explain myself 100 times to get somebody on the same board. And so it's been really exciting to be part of this. And I remember one of the things that I did, I'm an artist, so I wanted to do something special for IPS, so I ended up doing a mural at their old at the old office, which I'm sorry that they moved out of there because that mural couldn't move because the wall was there. The landlord would have been really pissed, but they did take pictures of it, and it's not the same. But anyway. But I remember sitting for hours doing research on IPS. It was really exciting to be able to do that. I sat with John, and I sat with Marcus as well. And I remember Marcus Raskin used to come and sit next to me while I'm painting, and he's like the founder, and I gotta be really careful because, like Howard Zinn used to say, he once told me, he says, not what you say in history is what you leave out that's more important. You know, it tells a lot about where your focus is. And so I didn't want to leave out anything really special or important. And so I would sit there and I would, he didn't want to like get in the way of artistic creativity, but he had his own way of kind of nudging me to, like, he would push a paper in front of me, like put this one up or this one up. And I remember we had one discussion. We had, one of the things that IPS does is speaking truth to power. And I had, is that applause? Or somebody dropped something. Speaking truth to power. And so he says, and I had already like written it. And he comes back, he says, no, it's speaking truths to power. So I had to kind of like put an S on the truth, there. So it is about speaking truth to power, and IPS has been speaking truth to power for a very, very long time. This is our 60th? We've been around 60 years. Wow, 1963. How time flies, right? So 60 years is a long time, and for us to stay and continue for the next 60 years, we need to have support from all of you here You are our family, and you always begin by asking family and friends. And you are our family and friends. So I urge you to make a donation. I asked John, I said, how much do you expect to raise here? And he said, you know, whatever we can get. And I said, well, that's not a good ask. So can we up the ante a little bit here? You know, and he said, well, you know, a lot of the people we have may not have a lot of money and so on. I said, but a lot of them do. They just maybe don't want to share it at this point. But we are here to ask you to share it tonight. I would like to begin by putting up $5,000 to be able to. So I would like to, and I have to say that one of the reasons why I love IPS is because Phyllis Binnis. Phyllis is fearless. She speaks, definitely she fits that role of truth to power. She speaks about the Middle East, I think, in a way that I think a lot of other organizations would shy away from. We always have to be very careful in how we say things about the Middle East. And although Phyllis' analysis is very measured, she's definitely not being careful. She's saying truth, and she's saying it in plain words. She appears on every show you can imagine. She's always there, always writing, always. She's one of the most prolific and amazing writers, I think, on the issues of the Middle East, and I really, really love and respect her. So the thing about IPS, and I think what makes it so special and brings so many people to these types of events, this is the Letelier-Moffitt award ceremony. It's kind of like the cool place to come to every year, where you get to interact with lots of people doing amazing things in all things, right? So whether it's climate, whether it's stuff that deals with war and peace, whether it's stuff that deals with the Middle East, whether it's stuff that deals with the wealth gap, all that stuff is right here at IPS. And that's why we bring so much of a diverse type of group here that is working on so many different issues. And of course, we could just tell by the awards that we give out, the most amazing, really, organizations that oftentimes get neglected and get left out. And interestingly enough, Black and Pink was formed the same time as Busboys and Poets. Hello. 2005. Anyway, that means we're both 18. We're adults. So I would love to see us. I mean, I don't want to be crass about fundraising but I think sometimes you need to be. So I would like to see if anyone would like to match my $5,000 in this room. One of you has it, I know. All right, we got one. Bang. I love you. Thank you. Thank you very much. What is your name, please? Oh. I love it. Thank you. That tells it all right there. All right. Can anyone else match that? I need 2 more people to match it. Just 2 more people to match the $5,000. We'll end up with $20,000. It's probably the most IPS has ever raised in this event. Sadly enough. But imagine, you know, the work doesn't get any less, as you know. I think the congressman will tell you that this work is endless, and the more you fight, the more they fight. And we have to really, fortify ourselves. And unfortunately, fortification means money. Isn't that right, Congressman? So I think it's important for us to be able to support someone like Jim McGovern and also support organizations that lift up Jim McGovern's ideas. And without the ideas behind him, he can't really speak this truth to power. So I really would love to see 2 more people each one giving $5,000, that we can move forward. Otherwise, we're going to be here all night. So, lock the doors, please. Oh. All right, one more person. Let's go. Come on, guys. Don't make me stand here. I'm sweating. I have a bad back. I'm sweating. I'm pissed. The Middle East is on fire. People are dying everywhere. It's a horrible place out there, guys. And we need to have more truth to power in order for us to continue the kind of work that IPS does. One more person with $5,000. Going once. Don't embarrass me, please. Somebody has it, I know. All right. We're going to go down to $1,000. All right? But I need to have 10 people. All right? This is simple math, folks. Really. So 10 people with $1,000 each. I know you're out there. Who's going to be the first to put his hands up? Where? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Who's got another 1,000? Seriously, dudes? Another 1,000, please. Thank you. We're on our way, guys. 8 more. 8 more. I know. Thank you. One more. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Keep the applause going. One more, please. Did I see a hand go up there? Are you just waving, or is this your hand? No. Be careful. Be careful if you're pointing at somebody. One more $1,000. Thank you. Would you stand up, please? It's Marcus Raskin's daughter. I love her. Thank you. All right, we got 6 more. Right? My phone is ringing. It's my brother. Hello? Look, we're raising money here at IPS, and I need you to promise $1,000. Will you give $1,000 to IPS? I'm on the microphone. Congressman Jim McGovern is standing in front of me, and there's a whole bunch of people here. Will you give me $1,000? He said yes. You got applause. Thank you. I'll call you back. I'll call you back because you're going to write that check. So I'll see you. Bye. Okay. That's ironic. So how many more we have? 5 more? We're good. No, we're not good. No. See, John should not be doing this. How many people raising money say, we're good. No, that is never a thing you say, John. Please, look, ignore what John just said, please. Tope, do you think we're good? Let's go. Tope says let's go. All right, we just need 5 more, $1,000 each. Or if one person decides, well, let me shut this guy up and I'll give $5,000, then that will solve our problem. So, or you can give 2,500, then we can have 2 of you, then we can have 500, we can have 10 more of you. We can break it up in all kinds of different ways. So can we please get another 5,000 or another $1,000, please, somebody? All right. Well, so we have, what, 10 so far? We have 10 so far.
14 so far.
I'm sorry?
14.
Oh, 14. That's right, 14. Oh, phew. Yeah, 14. So we got 6 more to raise, 6 more to raise, and we'll be good to go. If we... What was that?
People on Zoom as well.
Oh, people on Zoom. If you're on Zoom, please give us money. All right, there's a code on the back of your folders of flyers here, this little QR code. Can I get one or 2 more before I go? Please don't disappoint me. Thank you all very much and look forward to seeing you. And please, before you go, Before you go, I'm going to give you a minute. Let's do this now, if you don't mind. I'm going to give you a minute. If you could just pull out your phones, if you are so inclined, and do the QR code. We're going to give you about, let's say, 3 minutes. Can we give them 3 minutes? Well, they can do it. No. John, just be quiet. Jesus. This guy. Unbelievable. Wow. We're not inviting you back here again. You're going to go. So we have 3 minutes, and I'm sorry to take up 3 minutes, and then we're going to hear from the congressman, okay? So the sooner you do this, the sooner we'll be able to hear some wonderful words from the congressman. Here's a person that I can always depend on what he's going to say. You know, whether it comes to Cuba, whether it comes to the Middle East, whether it comes to issues of a wealth gap or anything else, worker rights, everything, this guy's on the right side, and I love you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Congressman Jim McGovern. But just go here. Just do it right now. Do your phone and get the money, and we got another 2 more minutes for you to be able to do that before we move on to the congressman to say a few words. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all. And you see why Andy's on our board. So, 3 of us proudly stand together here to introduce and applaud the presenter of the 2023 International Letelier-Moffitt Human Rights Award, Congressman Jim McGovern. In addition to Topé and myself, we are proud to be joined by the water defender who accepted the Letelier-Moffitt Award in 2009 for the National Roundtable on Mining in El Salvador, and who helped lead the successful campaign that made El Salvador the first nation on earth to ban mining to save its rivers. Let's hear it for Vidalina Morales.
No hay persona alguna en el Congreso de los Estados Unidos en el último medio siglo que haya hecho más para el avance de la paz y los derechos humanos en El Salvador y en el mundo entero que el congresista Jim McGovern. Recientemente, en julio de este año, el congresista McGovern envió junto con el congresista Mark Pocan una carta al Departamento de Estado de los Estados Unidos expresando objeciones y preocupaciones al arresto por el gobierno de El Salvador de 5 de nuestros compañeros defensores del agua que están conmigo en esa pancartita.
So there is no one in Congress over the past half century who has done more to advance peace and human rights in El Salvador and around the world than Congressman Jim McGovern. Most recently, in July of this year, Congressman McGovern joined Congressman Mark Pocan to send a letter to the U.S. State Department raising objections about the arrest in El Salvador of 5 of my water defender colleagues by the government of Nayib Bukele. And this is a picture of our colleagues here.
Congressman McGovern began his career on Capitol Hill 46 years ago as an aide to the great Senator George McGovern, who was also a senior fellow at IPS 3 years later in his career.
Entonces, en 1990, como asistente del valiente congresista Joe Mockley, Jim McGovern fue designado para liderar un grupo de trabajo con la enmienda de investigar los asesinatos de 6 sacerdotes jesuitas y 2 mujeres por escuadrones de la muerte en El Salvador.
Then, in 1990, as aide to the brave Congressman Joe Moakley, McGovern was appointed to lead a House task force investigating the 1989 murder of 6 Jesuit priests and 2 women in El Salvador by the death squads in that country.
Since McGovern's election to Congress in 1997, he has co-chaired Tom Lantos' Human Rights Commission, led in the efforts to normalize relations with Cuba, led as head of the House Rules Committee in the impeachment of Donald Trump, and has been there every step of the way for the people of El Salvador. For all these achievements and more, Representative McGovern has earned the respect and love of IPS and of the people in this room tonight. Please give a rousing welcome to Congressman Jim McGovern of Massachusetts to present the 2023 Letelier-Moffitt Human Rights Award.
Well, thank you. Good. Geez, after that introduction, I can hardly wait to hear what I'm going to say. But I want to thank IPS. Tope, thank you very much. You invoked one of my heroes, George McGovern, who loved IPS so very much. You know, he was my mentor, and even though we weren't related, I wouldn't be here without him. When I was running for Congress the first time, I was in Fall River, Massachusetts, and a elderly woman came up to me and put her arms around me and said, Mr. McGovern, it was the proudest moment of my life when I voted for you in 1972 when you ran against Nixon. I didn't know what to say. I said, well, thank you very much. I hope you'll vote for me again. And I won Fall River with 70% of the vote. John, thank you. Vitalina, thank you so very, very much. What an honor it is to be with you. Andy, thank you. I wanted to vote for you for mayor when you ran, but they wouldn't let me because I'm from Massachusetts. But thank you for, but thank you for your incredible passion and all that you do for this city and so many good causes. And what a thrill it is to be here with Black and Pink. And Tina, thank you. And it's so inspiring. And Lilo Gonzalez, thank you for your incredible presentation, your music. It's just absolutely beautiful. And I just have to just say at the very beginning, you know, I am so happy you invited me here today, because to be at the Friends Meeting House in a packed room filled with good people who are dedicated to good causes, and not in the Capitol, where I am surrounded by, I got to be diplomatic, I was going to say clowns, but that would be a disservice to working clowns. But look, it is an honor to be here tonight at a time when we remember the 50th anniversary of the horrific military coup in Chile, and when we remember the lives and accomplishments of Orlando Letelier and Ronnie Carpen-Moffitt. And as someone who's been around for a while, I didn't realize it was that long until my introduction, but I believe it's way overdue for the United States government to open up all of its files on the coup and make it public. Anything that hasn't been released must be released. 50 years is long enough to wait, and I don't want to wait another 50. So we will work together to make that happen. And I was inspired when Vitalina and the National Roundtable led the successful campaign to make El Salvador in 2017 the first country in the world to ban mining in order to save its rivers. And over the years in El Salvador, I've met many activists leading that campaign. It was difficult and dangerous work. I believed in their cause, but quite frankly, I was surprised when they succeeded. That campaign was then and remains today an extraordinary achievement. So tonight, I am proud to shine the spotlight on an organization that is fighting against human rights abuses and the erosion of the rule of law in El Salvador. What is happening in El Salvador today reminds each of us that neither El Salvador nor the international community, including the United States, invested what was needed to consolidate peace, human rights, social justice, and democracy following the end of the Civil War. We pour billions and billions into war, but barely a penny into peace. And too often we just walk away. We are now witnessing a gross deterioration of human rights, good governance, and rule of law in El Salvador. In 2019, the Salvadoran people elected Nayib Bukele as president. And in August of that year, I met with President Bukele, and he made many promises to me and then Speaker Nancy Pelosi about respecting human rights and upholding the rule of law. But since then, we have seen an overriding desire to consolidate power in the hands of the presidency and to attack independent democratic institutions. We have seen the destruction of an independent judiciary and Attorney General's office. We see threats and attacks against independent media and critics. And for the past 18 months, El Salvador has functioned under a state of exception, an emergency measure that suspends due process and certain constitutional rights. Over 71,000 people have been arrested without warrants, requiring the construction of the largest prison in the Western Hemisphere. And among those arrested, to name just a few, are 16 labor leaders and 5 water defenders that Vitalina described. Scarcely 2 weeks ago, President Bukele officially began his campaign to remain in office after the 2024 election, even though the Salvadoran Constitution states that presidents cannot serve consecutive terms. The stated goal of the state of exception was to make El Salvador more secure by cracking down on gangs and gang violence, which for too long exerted de facto control over most communities throughout the country. But from the beginning, the state of exception was also used to intimidate and threaten critics, civil society, and political opponents who raised questions or opposed the state of exception and its abuses. Its supporters argue that security and respect for human rights are opposites, that they operate in contradiction, that you can have one or the other, but not both. I think I speak for everybody here. We reject this argument. The heart of a democratic government is to provide security to its citizens and to respect, promote, and protect their basic human rights. So this might be difficult to achieve, but it is never, ever an either-or choice. A powerful way to say no to this false choice is to lift up courageous individuals and organizations that refuse to be intimidated, refuse to be quiet. Tonight we honor one of them, Tutela Legal Maria Julia Hernandez. Tutela Legal holds a special place in my heart and in the hearts of everyone who worked for human rights in El Salvador during the Civil War. Originally formed as the Legal Aid Office of the Catholic Archdiocese in 1982, it was one of the only places in El Salvador where people could go to share their testimony after loved ones had been disappeared or killed. The case files of Tutela Legal were essential in documenting the truth and seeking justice and reconciliation. In 2013, the Archbishop of San Salvador abruptly shut the office of Tutela Legal and sealed the archives. Shortly afterwards, an independent organization, the Tutela Legal Maria Julia Hernandez Legal Association, was formed to continue that valuable human rights work. The new organization is named after one of the most fearless and tireless human rights defenders of El Salvador, a woman who worked with St. Oscar Romero and Archbishop Rivera Damas. I knew Maria Julia for decades. I admired her. I respected her. I was occasionally intimidated by her. And like you, I loved her and I miss her. It is fitting that this association organized to carry on the vital work of the original tutela legal honors that legacy in her name. Tutela legal Maria Julia Hernandez is on the front lines of the struggle for justice, defending working people who have been locked up without a trial, tortured and smeared as terrorists despite having no ties to gangs or crime. And every day, tutela legal lawyers and staff accompany parents, siblings, and children who have spent the last year or year and a half not knowing whether their loved ones are alive or dead or inside prison walls. In coordination with other human rights organizations, Tutela Legal has submitted over 3,300 habeas corpus briefs to the Supreme Court on behalf of innocent civilians and community leaders who have been wrongly detained. It is spearheading efforts at the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights to win protections for human rights and environmental defenders and to challenge violations of due process and international law in El Salvador. It does this work surrounded by danger and intimidation. There is no doubt in my mind that its staff, its lawyers, and its advocates deserve our support, our gratitude, and our solidarity. So it is my pleasure to invite Director Ovidio Mauricio and co-founder Alejandro Diaz to the stage to accept the 2023 Letelier-Moffitt International Human Rights Award. Thank you.
Gracias por su amor a El Salvador y a este trabajo en derechos humanos.
Thank you for your love for El Salvador and for human rights work.
Este premio es un reconocimiento a las miles de familias en nuestro país que desde hace muchos años están sufriendo el círculo de la violencia social e institucionalizada y que han creído en tutela legal María Julia Hernández para acompañarlos, a las organizaciones de derechos humanos nacionales e internacionales, al Instituto de Estudios Políticos, a Fundación CHER, CISPES, Paz Christi, Carecen y otras organizaciones y amigos que siempre han apoyado nuestro trabajo por la defensa en la promoción de los derechos humanos.
This award is in recognition of the thousands of families in our country who have been suffering in a circle of social and institutionalized violence now for many years. It is for those who have believed in tutela legal María Julia Hernández enough to ask us to accompany them. It's for the national and international human rights organizations, for IPS, the Share Foundation, CISPES, Pax Christi International, Carecen, and friends who have always supported the work of defending and promoting human rights in El Salvador.
Somos el resultado del trabajo colectivo de los más pobres, desde el socorro jurídico cristiano que fundó San Romero de América, posteriormente pasó a ser tutela legal del arzobispado y ahora tutela legal María Julia Hernández. Contamos con ese respaldo, con esa credibilidad, desde lo cual hemos tratado de dignificar a las víctimas y a los luchadores históricos que ofrendaron su vida por la causa de los derechos humanos.
We want to say, first of all, that we are the result of the collective work of the poorest of the poor, starting from the time of Socorro Jurídico Cristiano, founded by Saint Romero of the Americas, and later by the Tutela Legal Office of the Archdiocese, and now Tutela Legal Maria Julia Hernandez. And with this history and with this credibility, we have been trying to bring dignity to the victims and the people who fought throughout our history and gave their lives to the cause of human rights.
Como lo hizo María Julia Hernández, ¿verdad? Fundadora de Tutela Legal, histórica, defensora en El Salvador. Continuamos trabajando contra la impunidad, el rescate a la memoria histórica, impulsando denuncias, investigaciones y casos ante los tribunales de El Salvador contra los crímenes de guerra que todavía se encuentran sin
Promoting denunciation, investigation, and taking to trial the serious cases of crimes against humanity and war crimes in El Salvador that are still without justice.
Sabemos que organizaciones como Tutela Legal somos las llamadas a trabajar para que se restauren estos derechos fundamentales y se repare a miles de víctimas actuales de violaciones a derechos humanos cometidas por el Estado de El Salvador.
We know that organizations like Tutela Legal Maria Julia Hernandez are called to work so that fundamental rights can be restored and so that victims can receive reparations for the harm caused by the state.
Hace 2 días cumplimos 10 años como Tutela Legal María Julia Hernández y más de 40 años de venir acompañando a las víctimas de graves violaciones a derechos humanos. En este caminar hemos sido propositivos, presentando y acompañando propuestas de ley para el respeto a los derechos humanos, la justicia, la verdad, la reparación y la dignificación de las víctimas, de los crímenes del conflicto armado y actuales donde se ha evitado llevar a la justicia a los responsables de terrorismo de Estado.
2 days ago was our 10th anniversary as Tutela Legal Maria Julia Hernandez, and we've been working for more than 40 years now to accompany the victims of serious human rights violations. And throughout the whole journey, we have been proactive, presenting legislative proposals for the respect of human rights, justice and truth, and to bring dignity and reparations to the victims of crimes committed during the armed conflict and victims today, because so far those responsible for state terrorism have not been brought to trial and have not been found criminally liable.
Hemos trabajado y nuestro trabajo ha sido por la centralidad de las víctimas, los programas y leyes dirigidos a ellas, pero en El Salvador siempre se ha ido en su contra, se están revictimizando e instrumentalizando políticamente los casos de crímenes de guerra y lesa humanidad. Nunca se han entregado los archivos militares de lo que nos ha contado el congresista.
We have been advocating for the centrality of the victims. They should be at the center of programs, laws, and policies. But things in El Salvador are stacked against them. They've been re-victimized and used politically. In the case of crimes against humanities, we have yet to gain access to military archives, as the Congressman mentioned, to learn about the truth and to find justice.
Al contrario, ahora se captura a familiares, hijos, hermanas de víctimas civiles del conflicto armado por el solo hecho de ser jóvenes, vivir en lugares populares. También se persigue a líderes comunitarios y defensores de los recursos ambientales, como los compañeros defensores de Santa Marta, Cabañas, que junto a otras organizaciones han contenido el extractivismo de la minería en el país.
On the contrary, now the children, the siblings, other family members are being captured just because they're young and they live in densely populated areas. Community leaders and defenders of environmental resources, like our brothers and sisters in Santa Marta, Cabañas, are also being persecuted. They and other organizations have fought to keep metal mining out of the country.
Efectivamente, estamos en un momento en el que vivimos bajo un régimen indefinido de sección, con violaciones masivas y sistemáticas de derechos humanos, que se presenta al país como una normalidad y se publicita como un modelo de seguridad que se quiere exportar a países hermanos que vienen de la misma historia de impunidad.
We are now living in a time where we have an indefinite state of exception or state of emergency, and human rights are being massively and systematically violated. This is being presented to the public as something totally normal and is being publicized as a model for security that should be exported to neighboring countries who have the same history of impunity.
Cuando lo que en realidad lo que ha sucedido es una readecuación de estructuras criminales de acuerdo a investigaciones de medios periodísticos y los testimonios de víctimas del régimen que día a día se presentan a presentar denuncias desde hace más de un año y medio.
In reality, what is happening is that the criminal structures of the past have been retooled and recreated. We know this because of journalistic investigations that have been done, and we know this because of the testimonies of the victims of the state of exception regime. Then we are getting these testimonies every day and have been for more than a year.
La estrategia de hacer ver como normal vivir bajo el miedo, la tortura y el terror, crear sentimientos de venganza, odio, división en la sociedad han generado aceptación de un gobierno violador de los derechos humanos por una población que nunca ha tenido la oportunidad de vivir de otra forma, que no sea el militarismo, sin importarles quiénes son en realidad responsables de los crímenes cometidos y que sean capturados. Torturen y se maten a inocentes, sin juicio justo y sin un juez imparcial.
The strategy is to make it normal to live with fear and torture and terror, to create feelings of revenge and hate and division in society. They have made a human rights violating government seem acceptable in a population that has never had the opportunity to experience anything else, to experiencing anything other than militarism and a lack of care for who is really responsible for the crimes committed. Today, innocent people are arrested, tortured, and killed. There's no fair trial and no impartial judges.
Todo esto es un ataque generalizado y sistemático a la población. Estos son crímenes de lesa humanidad.
This is a generalized and systematic attack on the population. These are crimes against humanity.
Este día nos sentimos comprometidos y orgullosos de este histórico y emblemático premio. Sufrimos y estamos sufriendo la misma opresión militar que vivió Chile y toda la región hace unas décadas bajo dictaduras militares. La historia de los pueblos es un patrimonio invaluable para que no se olvide la memoria.
Today, we are committed and proud of the historic and emblematic award that we have received. We are experiencing the same kind of oppression that Chile and other countries experienced under military dictatorships in the region in decades past. But part of our heritage as a country is our historic memory.
El Salvador, a través de los funcionarios actuales de gobierno, quieren destruir y esconder este patrimonio. Existe un negacionismo de la historia con frases hechas como El Salvador es un nuevo país, el renacer del Salvador, situación que es muy distinta, pero que mediáticamente ha causado efectos en muchos compatriotas que todavía tienen esperanzas de cambios.
The government officials in El Salvador want to destroy and hide this heritage of our memory. They want to deny history by saying El Salvador is a new country. There is a rebirth of El Salvador. The situation is very different from that, but so many of our fellow Salvadorans are listening to the media in the country and they're still hoping that it will work, that things will change.
Por ello se quiere legitimar las violaciones a los derechos humanos y el rompimiento democrático, haciendo ver que habrá elecciones en el 2024 sin respetar la Constitución, con permisividad y opinión ambigua de algunos gobiernos del mundo y organizaciones internacionales, que se muestran cautas todavía o discretas al dar su opinión sobre este experimento populista que hay en El Salvador.
They're also trying to legitimate the human rights violations and the rupture with the democratic system. And they're saying, hey, we're going to have elections in 2024, but they're not respecting the Constitution to do that. And we're seeing a permissivity and ambiguous opinions being expressed by some governments who are being too careful and too discreet about their opinions about this populist experiment.
En estos momentos actuales no está en juego solo lo electoral, La democracia está en juego en la memoria, la historia, el legado y sangre de muchas personas y figuras como Monseñor Romero, nuestro San Romero, que lucharon por los derechos humanos, señalando la necesidad de cambios urgentes y profundos en nuestro país desde el 14 de octubre de 1979.
At this time, what's at stake is not just the elections. What we have at stake is historic memory and the legacy and the blood of so many people and figures like Monsignor Oscar Romero, our Saint Romero now, those people who fought for human rights and who said, Oscar Romero in his homily of October 14th, 1979, was pointing the way to the need for urgent changes and deep changes in our country.
En El Salvador los cambios se lograrán si trabajamos en alianzas, las organizaciones de la sociedad civil, la comunidad internacional, con un acuerdo de país y de los sectores más representativos de la sociedad para tener participación plural y no más divisiones y violencia. Por ello, como lo ha planteado el Instituto de Estudios Políticos, hay que retomar principios éticos y políticos como la solidaridad y como el internacionalismo.
These changes can be achieved if we work in partnership with organizations of civil society and with the international community, with an agreement in the country among the most representative sectors of society, because we need to have a pluralistic participation and no more divisions and violence. And that's why, just as IPS has always proposed, we need to take up again ethical principles and political principles of solidarity, principles like internationalism.
Todos debemos comprometernos siendo semillas que fructifiquen en el corazón de la gente, siguiendo el ejemplo de Monseñor Romero, y por ello la solidaridad y organizaciones amigas aquí presentes y que nos escuchan este día, porque hay que seguir apoyando lo humano, hay que seguir apoyando lo justo y lo solidario, hay que seguir apoyando como organizaciones los derechos humanos.
We must commit ourselves. We must be the seeds that grow into the fruit in the heart of the people, following the example of Monsignor Romero. And so solidarity among organizations who are here today, who are listening to us today, we need that solidarity because we must continue to support everything that is humane, everything that is just, everything that requires solidarity in defense of human rights.
Sin este apoyo internacional no se estuviera acompañando y defendiendo a miles de víctimas y familias afectadas por el régimen de sección, elevando su voz y dándoles esperanza. Sin su ayuda, El Salvador no saldrá de la noche oscura en que se encuentra actualmente.
Without this international support, we would not be able to accompany and defend the thousands of victims and family members affected by the current regime. We would not be able to elevate their voice and to give them hope. Without your help, El Salvador will not get out of the dark night in which it is now.
Viva la solidaridad, viva El Salvador, viva Monseñor Romero. Muchas gracias.
Hearty congratulations again to all of you. Congratulations. Last year at this event, we celebrated the fact that 3 former Letelier-Moffitt Award recipients had. Just 3 weeks ago, one of those presidents, Gabriel Boric of Chile, joined hundreds of you in a tropical rainstorm 4 blocks from here at Sheridan Circle, the site of the assassination of Orlando Letelier and Ronnie Carpin Moffitt. Congressman Jamie Raskin presented President Boric with a document that IPS and our allies have called for over the past 50 years, a congressional resolution of apology for the U.S. role in the overthrow of a democracy and the support of a brutal dictatorship in Chile. This is just one more measure of justice in the long fight for human rights and accountability.
I have been to a lot of acts of remembrance, and I must confess I'm really shaking now after hearing Orlando's sons, after hearing that incredible speech, Jamie Raskin, wherever you are, there you are. After feeling this energy here, the Washington crying, but all of us here gathered happy and celebrating life, not death. That's an inequivocal way to say that we won. That Orlando's and Ronnie's ideals won. And we are very proud of that. And my generation, I was born 10 years after Orlando was killed. My generation is deeply moved and deeply grateful of the fight they gave, of the life they gave to us.
Thank you so much to the brave leaders of Tutela Legal and Black and Pink. If any of you can make a contribution to these inspiring awardees, thank you, Andy. There are IPS staff at the doors with baskets to collect your donations. And huge thanks to you all, here in person and online, for being here and for continuing to strengthen IPS and our allies around the country and around the world. Special thanks to Avia Krupnik, who has done so much, and my tireless colleagues at IPS for putting on this beautiful event. Thank you all, and see you in the many battles to come. Thank you.